Hello. So, the themes are being announced in 6 minutes. I'm just gonna hang out here in the meantime, maybe speculate a bit. Drink some coffee. Hey, Tanuki. Oh boy. So this is my first time participating in this jam. Apparently last year's jam was um, bugs or errors. So people made games that had errors on purpose. So I'm hoping maybe for a less technical theme, maybe something a little more conceptual, will give me more opportunities to interpret it in different ways. But we'll see. We shall see. I probably won't be able to get started on the game right away. Like I have some other stuff to do today, like work-wise, because today is a weekday. But I will brainstorm for a bit on stream, and then I'll yeah, get my day done, and maybe in the evening, maybe around 5 or 6 or something, I'll come back to actually get started on the game. Plus, in that whole time, my brain like will subconsciously be, you know, thinking of ideas and stuff. So hopefully, I'll have something good to work on once I'm back. One person disliked this. 4 minutes left. No, I think that I thought this was a 48-hour jam, but now that I look at the date, March 1st, that's 72 hours. Okay. Well, I probably won't be able to do the whole 72 hours anyway. So it doesn't make a big difference. I'll be making this full screen once it goes live. It's just when the video isn't playing, the button for making it full screen isn't there. So we just have to watch the chat. Here we go. This one guy says the theme is spoilers, and I just won the jam by spoiling you. Why are all these people hosting me? All right, 2 minutes. Man, I really hope it's not something like super technical. Uh, I genuinely don't like when a theme is like a mechanic or something because it's so difficult to interpret that theme in different ways, and a lot of people end up doing like pretty much the same game. Oh, like conceptual themes are the best kind. Man, Jonas's chat is going wild. Okay, here we go, 60 seconds. Milk Gang. Okay, here we go. Ah, of course. Let me just refresh this. Man, what? Hold on, let me stop this. Playback doesn't be. What? Is it because of the chat? Oh, there we go. Okay. Let me just open up the chat on my phone, just in case. You like the size of my coffee mug? It's as big as my head. Where the audio's going. Wowie! Okay. So there's 7 rating categories. Jeez. Yes. Okay. Okay. Does it? Okay. I've actually seen this theme before in different jams. Sure. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's the best approach. Like, you don't want to come up with an idea and then just figure out how to retroactively slap the theme into that. You want the entire game mechanics to revolve around the theme. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sure. Oh, that's neat. You can mix and match these suggestions. Failure reveals new information. Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of doing. Okay, well, that's interesting. Yes, Silver's wallpaper. Sorry, I missed that. Um, Lots of potential there. Uh, okay, so what can we do with that? I'm gonna go set up the team Discord, just because I'm actually not working alone on this one this time. So I'm gonna set up a group DM and invite the people who are working so I can tell them what the theme is and we can start brainstorming. They're all in different time zones though. So let's see. New group DM. So it's Hans and oh, is it not Freya? thought it, yeah, right here. Oh, I only add friends. Yeah, I think I can only add friends. Okay, hold on. I'll just copy this. Beep, 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 go here. There we go. Okay. And I guess for now I'll just make it with the composer and I'll invite. Oh, it doesn't work if I just do it. Listen. Oh, there we go. And then detail. No, okay. There's one more person joining us. Oh, that's fine. Let's just rename this. How about we get the Wowie Jam logo. Can I just like slap that on my, yeah, there we go. And then I use that as the icon. This one. Let's go with this. No, let's go with, I don't know. Yeah, I guess this. And then I change the name of this to Channel 3.0. Value is progress. So, where's my chat? Here it is. And where's my other chat? Here it is. Nice. I sure love chatting with absolutely no one. Okay, let's do some brainstorming. I got my papers ready. Let's put the music back on. Nope, nope, wrong thing. Oh, you know what? I hate when this happens. Whenever I pause and play the music, it stops like being captured for some reason. I have to reset the sample rate. It's so annoying. I wish there was a, like, I looked it up, I couldn't find anything regarding that. And I think it might be because I'm on the Apple Silicon iMacs. But I don't know. So, success is failure. Obviously, the the most obvious interpretation is to just make it so that your goal is to die or to lose. I've seen a ton of games like that before. I remember back in the Newgrounds days, there was, for example, there was one game where you play as like an office worker, and I guess you just want to kill yourself. So the goal is to make it to the spikes or whatever in each level. And there's this other game called on Steam, I think it's called Suicide Joe or Joe Suicide or something like that. It's in poor taste, I guess, but once again, the goal is to just like try and kill yourself in each level, and I don't really want to do something like that. It's cliche. I'm sure a lot of players will be doing that. And in the Jam theme announcement video, there were a couple suggestions, like coming up with ridiculous goals, such as instead of avoiding spikes in a platformer, you avoid flags, so you're trying not to win. So just the fact that was mentioned just means that, because there's 3,500 people participating in this, right? So odds are there's gonna be like maybe 100 who do exactly what was shown in the video. So I'm just not gonna do that. Oh, hey, Autocross. Heard about some game jams some years back. Flash gaming was tried on the web. Came to watch you because Moriarty and Craig Kitsune were both hosting you, and I also like dev work. No One Has to Die is one of my favorite minimalist at least. Chatted with a dev's good friend on YouTube once. Good times. Alright, that's cool. Do you think you'll ever, like, you said you've heard about game jams and you like game dev, or you like dev work, but do you work on games as well? Like, have you participated in game jams? Also, yeah, I don't know why so many people are hosting me. But yeah, so let's grab my pen. We'll do green today. So failure is progress. See, that's the key word, is progress. Failure isn't necessarily success, but failure is what leads to progressing or moving the game forward. So there's what's that game called? It's a Wii game, and my younger brother used to play it, and I can't remember the game. I think the concept of that game is you're climbing a tower of sorts, but every time you die, you're sent to... man, I can vaguely remember. I don't really remember what the game is, but what I do remember is that you had to die in order to progress, and I guess that fits this theme. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I don't even know how to Google this. Is it Pandora's Tower? Oh, Baroque. Wow, I found it. Okay, yes, that was the game. Yes, this game. I don't know if any of you have played this. Apparently it's a PS2 game, but I guess it was... yeah, it was also released on Wii. Let's see, how does this one... it says gameplay here. So, oh, it's a roguelike. That makes sense. I guess a lot of roguelikes have that mechanic. Like, let's... okay, I'm gonna read this first and then I'll go on that tangent. Dungeon crawling through randomly generated floors with the aim of reaching the bottom floor. Oh, so you started at the top and you're going down. The original game and the remake share basic gameplay, also have several differences. Oh, Upon death, rather than resulting in a game over, the protagonist is transported back to the hometown. These deaths progress the narrative and unlock new dialogue and areas. Okay, yeah, pretty simple. There's this other one. You know the one. It's a side scrolling. It's a side scroller, and when you die, your children night something night. Ah, boy. And you go in a castle, and the castle is randomly generated every time. Is it like Rogue Knight or Rogue Knight? No, Rogue Legacy. There we go. Yeah, Rogue Legacy. Same concept. Failure is progress because every time you die, you can upgrade your character. But I don't want to do a roguelike just because. Oh, hey, Freya. Freya's on the team. She or they will be doing all the like graphical work, illustrations and stuff for the game. Hey Ben, something about agent undercover saboteur, and you need to make the appearance of work but quietly fail work. Hey, that's really interesting. That's a good one. Actually, I'll add that to the list. Failures, progress. So, as I said, I don't want to do any roguelikes just because it's unrealistic in the amount of time that we have. And I'll add undercover agent. So maybe it could be like exactly what you said, where it's an undercover agent or saboteur in a kind of hitman sort of fashion, or maybe a competing, you know, you actually work for a competing company and you're like an inside man. Or it could be like you're an undercover boss and you're trying to tip up your employees. Anything of that. But that would be like that would be plot wise. So I'd have to see how to interpret or how to implement mechanics into that kind of setting. Never spent too much time getting into the basics. My brother once set up a 3D world with some templates before I've played some of my friends' 2D school projects. But since I can do stop motion, I was learning leaning more into into filming and make fully visual trailer. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, actually, you can do some interesting game ideas with stop motion and claymation. Like I've seen a couple. So I mean, if you're not a dev, maybe you can like contribute to a team that already has a dev as a stop motion or claymation artist, and I think that can lead to a game with really unique visuals. Like the last game jam game I made is like all the visuals and textures are like real photographs, so I filmed my hands and animated them. So I can hold on, let me just go there real quick so you can kind of see like it looks like this. See, like these are my actual hands wearing gloves, and I've just like filmed them in front of a green screen, and then I processed them in DaVinci Resolve, and in Photoshop I exported each frame of the footage and then gave them that like different look in Photoshop, like frame by frame. But yeah, so like you don't need to stick to a medium that's traditional. I do have some Fimo, but I think that eventually tries. I should get later. Oh, Fimo, yeah. For sculpting, I think. Is that what that's for? No, that's not. I'm not talking about the Philip OPJ Chan. I'm not talking about the last. I was just showing the last game jam game as an example. Right now, I'm in a different jam. It's this one, the Wowie jam. Um, and hold on, is my voice lower than the music? No, it's not. Okay. I'm doing the Wowie jam, and the theme for this one is failure is progress. So I'm just brainstorming. So one person suggested, well, Ben suggested a neat idea, but I do want to write down like as many ideas as I can just to explore. Yeah, this counts as March's game. So then once I finish this game, I'll be able to take a slightly longer break to work on videos and stuff. So let's see. Success is failure. No, failure is progress. I think maybe a visual novel could be something new that I haven't made before, but maybe not a traditional visual novel just because I don't want to. I like having 3D worlds, so maybe it's the kind where you can walk around and talk to people, and maybe I can implement Ben's concept into that, or I could do something different. It could be sabotage, but it could be oh, not sure. Yeah, failure is progress. That's the theme. More times than not, I use modeling clays like new plaster and Aiken, especially oil-based blocks. Hmm. Okay. So, oh, isn't Danganronpa basically a visual novel where you get to walk around? That's essentially like very similar in what I have in mind. Yeah, but these kind of games would be very dialogue and writing heavy, and I don't have a writer on the team, so it'll just be me. I don't know if that's really the best thing for me to focus on rather than like game design or game mechanics. I have one notification and it's bothering me. Big boy, I love when just the photos are used in game graphics. Everyone's mentioning Hilux for that in reference to what my last game looks like. I think you can upload fixed build somewhere. Okay. Yeah, that's what I kind of want to go for, like 3D environments with 2D characters. But I don't know. Um. Oh. Before I get to that, game jams usually vary in time. It really depends on the jam. Like some are 24 or 48 hours. This one specifically is 72 hours. The one I did last week was 7 days long, but there are some that are like 1 month long. So it really depends on like this. So look, if you go to itch.io's jam page, you can see all the scheduled jams, and look at this. Like this, can you hear my cat? Kitty. But yeah, there's so many jams running at the same time right now. Like this is the line, this is today, and Wowie Jam is here, and look at all of these that are intersecting with it. Like it's wild. So some of them are really long. Like look at how long these ones are here. But some of them are really short. Like this one here appears to only be 48 hours. But yeah. how can we? All right, yeah, I'll be streaming after 5 or around 5 EST. Um, yeah, what was I saying? Right. I want I want to think of mechanics, like how can I interpret this theme in terms of like gameplay mechanics. Um, so, like, setting wise or game like genre concepts, we can apply any setting or any genre, but the important part is really the mechanics. I want to see how we can turn this theme into interesting mechanics that don't have too much of a learning curve. Um, and boy, to be honest, I'm a little stumped with that because I don't want to do, you know, kill yourself for progress. Like everyone's gonna be doing that. And I just generally don't want to do that. Like even games like Demon Souls to a certain degree kind of implement that theme where every time you die you get to go back to what's it called, the oh hey, thanks for following, Otto. um but you get to go back to the whatever uh, boy, I haven't played that game since it came out. um but that kind of thing is really way too cliche. um so maybe hmm, this is how I think. I just blabber and things come out, and sometimes good things come out. Most times, not so much. Let's see. Any ideas, Hoya? Hoya? Is that how we pronounce that? Hoya. Or was it like Freya? Uh, any ideas? I'm open to suggestions. That I9 is fine. I don't know what I9 means. Oh, I think he meant that is fine. Yes, okay, the 9 is next to the I on the keyboard. My name is Freya. You can just call me that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Freya. Okay. Any suggestions? Like in terms of visuals, I think that 2D characters in a 3D world thing is cool. I think we'll do that, especially because you're here. Um, but gameplay mechanics, I don't want to focus too much on writing. So I don't want it to be a visual novel of sorts. Because yeah, decision making can lead to failure, and failure could be the way you progress the game. That's cool, but visual novels are in my strong point, so I want like gameplay mechanics that are not just dialogue. So how can we do something more with 2D characters in a 3D world? We can do platforming, similar to Super Paper Mario on the Wii. But platforming, it's the go-to genre in game jams. Like 50% of the games are always platformers, mostly because a lot of devs work in 2D game engines, so they default to platforming. So I don't want to do a platformer necessarily, unless it's like a platform, like a puzzle platformer, which is maybe something I do, but I don't know how to implement the theme there. Um, so maybe like I still want the game to have like a a win condition, and swapping the lose condition for the win condition is lazy. It's the laziest way to implement this theme, so I'm not doing that. I still want to have a win condition, but I want losing. You see, there's two ways I can approach this. We can make losing mandatory, where it's the only way to progress the game, and you just have to lose till you can win. Or we can make it so that losing is optional, but not even losing. Well, I say losing, but I just mean failing at specific things. Like, it can be just actions you perform in the game. You could be failing at that, and that can lead further progress. Like something as simple as lockpicking, right? Like maybe, usually in a lockpicking minigame, when you fail, you either traditionally you just have to try again, and it's tedious. But sometimes you use a specific item to lockpick, and that item breaks, so you need to use another one. And if you're out of these items, you can't try again. And sometimes it's as bad as you only get one try, and if you lose, then the lock is broken and you can no longer try again. But in this case, maybe if you're lockpicking and you lose or you fail, something positive happens to progress the story. I'm not saying I want to put lockpicking in the game, I'm just using that mechanic as an example. Puzzle platformer might be interesting. You learn the route through trying and failing lots of times. Yeah, that's not bad actually. Where it's like a trial and error sort of thing. Yeah. A barter trade mechanic short game where you have to trade certain items you find with your NPC partner in the final act. You fight him with the remaining half of the things you kept. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. I once made a game where you have to stack items in your home because you're moving. And let's see if I still have, like, I probably have footage for it somewhere. Yes, I do. I do right here. And the idea was that after you were done stacking all the stuff in your home, you would go onto an arena. You're carrying the home, like the entire house, on your back, like a backpack, and the items you've managed to stack in your home can be used as ammo that you throw at the other players. So everyone's carrying their home on their backs. So depending on how well you performed in the puzzle stage, you have an advantage in the combat stage. So maybe here we can do something that's the opposite, where depending on how, but then people will be failing the first stage on purpose just to get the advantage on the second stage. So I don't know. Let me see if I can find that game. I know. Oh, here it is. I don't know if it's visible. No, that's not it. I'm not pretty sure I had that footage. Maybe I don't. Oh, here it is. So you see, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on, but like items show up and then you stack them. This is 2 players, and you're just stacking items. But yeah, let's see. Oh, hello, Dimitri. You can have conditions like if you're too big, you need to lose life to be able to pass through a tiny space, or the opposite. Hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I mean, what you said can be applied to a lot of things. Huh. What do you think, Freya? Something like that, where you in order to progress there's like obstacles, and in order to progress past those obstacles, you have to trigger failures. So there are doors with passwords you can only decipher by talking to people in each room before the doors, but there's heavy emotional context behind what they say, so it's hard to bear. What? That's funny, but that requires like good writing. That's not my strong point, like creative writing. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not unfortunate. I'm very lucky to have, really talented team members. I have Freya right here in the chat, who's an illustrator. I also have a 3D modeler who's going to be doing like props and environment. And I have a composer. So I can do like things with music, visual, puzzles. But when it comes to writing, I'll be writing the dialogue myself, or maybe one of the other team members. And I don't know if any of us are like writers who are good enough to have like emotional like bear on your emotional, like, or tug on your heartstrings kind of thing. But though with passwords, that's something we could potentially play around with. And also Dimitri's idea, which I think is really good. Did the music stop playing again? How does this happen? So annoying. No, I'm gonna switch the chat to just me, just because I don't have anything going on screen right now, so no point in that. Oh, losing body parts? Dimitri, that one, I don't know if that one works with the theme as well, because, well, actually, you know what? Maybe. And Freya, no, I think that's really good. Like we can make it a bit more comedic, like visually. Like it doesn't need to be like, gory. Like you're not tearing off your limbs. Maybe you're a character made out of like made out of clay or whatever, and you can just like, split yourself into smaller pieces. Yeah, what's up? Okay. Yeah, Loco Roco, yeah. I was thinking, when you mentioned that, I was thinking calamari, but in reverse. So, I mean, conceptually, it's the same thing. But like, I don't want to focus just on the one mechanic, but I think the aspect of, so what more can we do with basically mechanic number one would be you're too big, you shrink to fit in a smaller hole. Got it. But then how can we remix that to have different mechanics that follow that same kind of idea? Like we can reverse it where you can become bigger to break through stuff, but then that's not really a fail state as much. So but then what's stopping people from triggering those failures on purpose? Like that's the thing, is that it's not really failure if losing limbs or shrinking or whatever is considered by the player as a main mechanic. Like, you know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be intentional. Oh, that's good. Auto. Man, you guys are just filled with good ideas. Uh, every time you lose health, place items you find in empty health slots. Your vessels for more than just HP. But you know what I mean in reference to the shrinking, right? Like, if it's intentional, then it's the main mechanic and it's no longer interpreted by the player as failure. So we have to figure out a way to have that implemented so that it is more like, uh, man, I'm really struggling with that one. The theme is failure is progress. Close. Um, so I like the idea of um, the HP slots. More health is less inventory, less health is more inventory. Yeah, basically, that's essentially what he's saying, or what they're saying. Um, right. Like there's this game, or what was it called? I think it's Edmonton game, night, die, die. The game. Life Goes On. That's what it's called. So there's this game called Life Goes On where you play as a knight, and oh, I've got a lot of windows open. Where's the chat? Here it is. Where you play as a knight, and every time you die, the knight's body stays there, and then you respawn as a new knight. We've seen this concept done before, especially in Flash games, but essentially, you just like you basically die a bunch of times to make like piles, and then you can jump on those piles like the platforms, etc. So that's another way. That's another game that implemented that same like, kill yourself to progress. But like once again, when it's intentional, then well, no, I don't know. Balancing those two things could be an interesting challenge in and of itself. You lose something in both ways, but help you progress either way. Yeah, I think so. Um, I think that could be an interesting concept. Um, but then now we have to figure out ways to implement it in gameplay, right? So that's a mechanic. Now, how can we make that mechanic interesting in gameplay? Like, um, in order to make this fun, we'd have to put a lot of different scenarios to explore. Um, like, it would probably be combat based since it's HP, and then you know boss fights, or it could be a top-down shooter. It could be like a um, what's that game where you play as a ship Raiden, like a Raiden sort of bullet hell sort of game. Um, mm, Also a game where you agree and died in spikes a bunch of times to create safe footing. Probably sounds familiar. Um, Yeah, no problem, Freya. Yeah. Let's see. So maybe it doesn't have to be HP, or maybe it can be two two stats or two values of some sort that kind of are interconnected. So it can be the inventory, that's fine, but maybe something else that's not HP, just to not have to implement a lot of combat. Well, we could actually we can mix that with Dimitri's shrinking idea. Like, what if let's say you're a slime or a blob, and the more items you carry or the more items you absorb technically into your inventory, the bigger you are, and so you can't make it past certain aspects. So then you have to dump items to shrink down to go through to different areas. But when you're in those areas, you no longer have the items, so you have to go back and swap out the items to keep your inventory smaller so that you're the right size to fit in different areas. I don't know, what do you think? Oh yeah, I know Spure by Edmund Macmillan, right? Yeah, basically it's just you just spew all over the place, and then I think you could slide on those too. I'm not sure. No, it's just you fill up the space like a pool, and then you can kind of dive and jump out of it. Yeah, stuff like that. But then, is that really failure? Like, at this point, if we stop now and we think about this, dumping items, that's not really failure. Lots of good ideas, but it's hard to interpret them with the theme. It says under the topic or under the theme, it says, let's mess with the concepts of winning and losing. And I don't know if these ideas do any of that so far. I mean, I really like them. I do want to play around with these ideas. I just have to think about how they can fit more with the theme. One of the items could be someone's important memento, but you could only have enough room for the door keys, so you get rid of it in order to progress and feel guilty. Your ideas are like they're all about like making you feel bad. Okay, okay. What if I'm gonna stick with the slime changing size and absorbing items idea for a minute. What if when you absorb things, whether they be items or anything else, they don't necessarily have to be items for this concept, but when you absorb things and get bigger, what if you don't have any way of dropping them? So if you're too large, then you have to trigger some kind of fail state in order to shrink back to your initial size. and maybe it is like, for example, you can like how to say, like swallow the, think of it like when you're carrying things that you've absorbed, they're basically like in your cheeks, in your mouth, and then when you swallow them, it's like you're making them dissolve in your like body acid. um so then you lose all the items and objects you've picked up, but now you're back to your smaller initial size. um uh so hmm. So that's a fail state, I guess, right? Where you lose the items you've collected, and then you have to go around and collect more or collect new things. Um, the Okay, let me tell you something about this one-time only projectile. Every game jam I participate in, there's always one team who makes that exact game. No matter what the theme is, I don't know why they figure out a way to make this game mechanic fit in the theme. I've seen so many of this exact game where you shoot your bullet and then you have to go pick it up because you only get one. Or you play through a level and you only get one shot, and if you miss that shot, you have to start over. And I don't know if I want to be the team that makes that game in this jam. Yes, I'm serious. Like every single jam, and sometimes like they do it really well, and sometimes they don't. So it depends. Um, and I've also seen a game. It's called Heavy Bullets, where you have like really big bullets, and it's not limited to one, but you do have like maybe 3 or 5 depending on the level. I think it's different depending on how many you pick up. But when you pick one up, you shoot it, it's like a big physical bullet, so it gets shot and it falls on the ground, and you have to go pick it up. Um, uh, there is a commercial game that did that too. Um, yeah. So I don't know if I want to be the team that does it this time. I guarantee you at the end of this jam, there's gonna be at least one game that has that exact concept. Like I will find it in the submissions and I'll tweet it. Like I'll share it I'll share it on my Discord. Oh, you're right. Ruby does work like that. You like swallow the item and then it's gone, or you can spit it out and it's a star. Um, that's interesting. Well, I mean, we're not really ripping off Kirby though, because this is slightly different. This is more like puzzle solving than there's no platforming or powers or anything like that. Thing is that since we only have 72 hours, we have to limit it to um, a mechanic that can be explored, like that has a lot of variety, so we can do as much with it as possible without having to implement more mechanics. Like ideally, if we just have this one mechanic that we can stretch out in a lot of different scenarios, then that would be ideal. Shape-shifting, that's a good idea. But I don't know if that fits with the theme. Like we're kind of deriving. It's just because the ideas that were suggested were really good, and I want to explore them. But I have to stop and think. Like, yes, the ideas are good, but do they work with the theme? Like, how do we implement the theme into them? So shape shifting. I can think of so many cool ways we can implement that, um, but it doesn't fit with the theme. Like, there's no fail state there. You're not doing anything you don't want to do in order to progress. You can make the player to choose or else. Okay. So, so like, in order to change shape, there's a consequence. Like every time you change shape, maybe. Hold on, let me write this down. Minesweeper? How exactly? Let me think. So in Minesweeper, you want to mark where you think all the mines are, and then you just click where you think the blank spaces are. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Oh yeah, I see. Okay, I see how that works because you're clicking to reveal a space, and if it's not a mine, then it clears out. Yeah. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger really fits the Minesweeper game, but not failure is progress. Shape-shifting can lead to consequences. Uh, oh, so okay, I'm mixing all these ideas together. Still, I like the idea of playing as a blob or a slime. I like the idea of shape-shifting. I like the idea of absorbing and losing items. So in this case, if we want to implement the shape-shifting, what if the way you change shape is absorbing objects that are that shape? So if you want to be like, like a long vertical thing in order to fit in a slot, then you can absorb like a statue or a column or something, and then you become like tall like the column. But then you're stuck in that shape until you dissolve the item you've absorbed. And if you dissolve it, you no longer have that item to reabsorb and become that shape again. So maybe I can't think of how that would imply progress. Like that's where I get stuck every time with these ideas. Hmm. Um, the music stopped again. Yeah, it needs a consequence. That's the thing. If you constantly shapeshift by default, there were buttons you have to press to prevent yourself from changing. Oh, so in order to progress, you have to stop yourself from changing, which is a failure state. Or if you failed the game, you could still learn the timing of something. I don't know if it will be a timing thing, but um, hmm. Okay, hold on. My brain, things are bubbling in my brain. Um, so they're constantly changing shape. and then what? And then you do something, you trigger some kind of fail state that leads to you remaining stuck in a specific shape. And that allows you to pass through two areas. How about something along the lines of so you have a health bar, and you're constantly changing shapes, and then um, in order to lock yourself into a specific shape, you have to take damage. So maybe step on like some fire or some spikes or whatever it is, and you take damage, and then you're locked in a specific shape for maybe just like 30 seconds, but it's long enough for you to go through to where you need to go. But now you have less health. So you have a limited amount of attempts, essentially, I guess. A curse that absolves after doing something else. It could be that. Um, hmm. Maybe your person and hmm. You man, tougher than I thought it would be. Maybe I'm just getting stuck on like wanting to explore these ideas. Maybe we should just, hey player, welcome back. Maybe we should just explore like different entirely, and then come back to these later. Like I have them all written down here. So we thought about shape shifting. I suggested absorbing items to take specific shapes, and then like dissolving them and losing them. I thought about carrying items. That was the HP slot / inventory idea that I think Otto suggested, where I took that and I thought, like, what if you absorb items to change size, and that uses up your inventory slots, and then you dissolve them to change back down, but then you lose those items forever. And then Otto suggested, what if you're constantly shapeshifting? And I added to that with what if the only way to lock into a specific shape, because you're constantly shapeshifting, is to take damage. But like, okay, Dmitry, thanks for hanging out. But I don't know if these ideas work well enough with the theme, because it's not necessarily failure, except the one where you take damage, I guess. But that's a lot of people are probably gonna do that, and I still feel I feel very strongly about, like, if taking damage is intentional, then it's no longer a fail like a failure a fail state, because that's the main game mechanic. So now it's no different than picking up coins if taking damage is something you have to do to progress. Like, I don't feel like it's implementing it's just surface level implementation. Like, it's like when you skin something, like you take an existing character and you just swap it out for different sprites. It's still the same character. Like, you're still collecting damage to move forward instead of collecting coins. It doesn't make a difference. So I don't like taking that route. So there's got to be something different. Maybe if I list all the different types of, common failure states in games, and then kind of go through them and see how we can flip those somehow. Because the thing I want to do, let me explain. The thing I want to do here is that I want the failure to not be intentional. I don't want the player to seek failure in order to progress. I want them to try to play a game like they normally would, where they're aiming for success, and then along the way, when they fail, some optional progress occurs. Or, like, if it's a roadblock, then it's different, I guess. But like, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it too hard. Oh, there we go. Just added the last team member. So I don't need these right now.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's your Harry Potter house again?
Slytherin.
What's mine?
I don't know. Why? What is it? What's this about?
It's just like the Discord group.
What? Okay.
I think it's Hufflepuff.
I doubt it.
I think it is.
How would it be Hufflepuff?
Well, it's Gryffindor then.
Okay. Just go take the
No.
the test thing.
No. Then this test twice. Not.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh my god, I keep pressing the wrong thing. Oh no.
Yeah, no, she's asking me, like, if I remember what her house is, but I don't know. Okay, so no, I think so far the idea of interchanging, like, health for inventory space is probably the best implementation of this theme. Yeah, you know what, Freya? I think that's a UK thing, because I hadn't heard of that system, and I thought it was a Harry Potter, like, made up thing. But apparently my wife also, her school had houses, and or whatever they're called. What do you guys call them?
Houses.
Oh, houses. Okay. And
All our schools.
where she's from, a lot of the systems are based on, like, UK systems. So like it's gotta be a UK thing, and I guess Harry Potter just kind of implemented that because it's just normal, or it's part of how schools work there. I don't know, you tell me, I've never been there. Um, but yeah, I had never heard of that kind of that system. Like the schools that I knew just didn't have that. Schools that um, my friends went to, that I went to. Anyway, that's interesting. Based on career life aspects. Okay. Um, so is there another stat that we can swap out for health? Like you said, in order to, well, actually, you know what? We can do that. Well, you take damage and that gives you more inventory slots. But how can we implement that in gameplay without just making it all combat based? Like, how can it be puzzle based? Maybe it's not health. Maybe it's speed. Maybe the more items you have, the slower you go. Essentially, which is pretty basic, I guess. The health thing is more interesting. Because Catholicism is like magic, I guess. That's great. Had little color-coded pin badges to note in which house. Ah, okay, interesting. Um,
No.
what am I looking for?
This is like 3 days ago.
Okay.
I didn't
And that's
respond.
just what my Okay. Yeah. Um, that's a possibility. But then what would the setting for that be? The first thing that comes to my mind is a heist, but I've made a heist game before. So I don't know if I want to do the same thing or tread new grounds. But I guess what I mean by a heist in this case is that you're essentially pulling a heist, you're robbing a place, whatever it is, and you carry items, and you have a limited amount of time. The more items you steal, the slower you go. So you have to sacrifice, like, do I want to take as many items as I can and go like very slow, or do I want to just try and like optimize and take, enough items to progress and keep my speed so I can finish on time, something like that. But I feel like that's not interesting enough for a mechanic. Like I prefer the health versus inventory rather than speed. But I'm open to more ideas. Do you have ideas?
Oh, I have no idea what's going on. I'm sorry. I was watching the stream, but I don't understand.
The theme is failure is progress. Yeah. There's a couple different ideas that people suggested. Okay, hold on. We're back to the blob. Okay, what if your blob had a former identity? Progress shows who you'd prefer to become, but failure shows you the person you actually are. My God, other concepts are very like they weigh heavily like on emotion, but like all this is just interpreted via writing. So Like it's a setting. I don't know if those are mechanics. You just really want to make the player feel bad is what I'm getting out of these ideas.
That's the point of this theme.
No, no, no. What he means is that's not what I mean. A game where the puzzle reflect on shapeshifting from actual to ideal identities. Oof, that's heavy. How would how would that work, like mechanic wise? Hmm. Yeah, I get what you're doing. Where like um if a player, because what I said about if failing is intentional, then the player will just keep failing on purpose to progress, and that's not really a failure state anymore. Like it's not considered by the player as a bad thing. But you're trying to make it so that when they fail, they feel bad about it. Um, but I feel like a lot of players can ignore that easily if it's narrative based, or if it's like based on um, interpreting emotions, then you're playing it like a 10-minute game jam game. There's a lot of chances that you're just gonna ignore that dialogue, especially if it's not like really well written by like a proper writer. Like I don't know if I can pull that off. Mm, well, it is an interesting idea to explore. Like I would see that implemented like in a real game, like not a game jam game, but like I could see that I could see myself playing a game like this. Mm, okay, so let's see. What was that doors with passwords idea that was suggested? Um, butter. I'm going back through the chat and I see you suggested a butter trade mechanic where you have to trade certain items you find with your NPC partner. You fight them with the remaining half of the things you kept. Um, I did not write that one down, so I'll add it to the list. Okay. Here it is. Though those with passwords you can only decipher by talking to people in each room before the doors. There's heavy emotional context behind what they say, so it's hard to bear while you solve the puzzles and go into each room of people. Hmm. Right. Okay, hold on a second. Okay. I'm kind of mixing all these ideas in my head and seeing how I can mix and match them. I hadn't considered the trading idea and the well, you trade and then the items you have left or what you have to use at the end. So I'm seeing how that can be implemented with the HP slots slash inventory. Hmm. Yeah, I think they might well blend well, but I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, so if we do some kind of, you know, boss fight, then I can see how, you know, balancing items for HP would work there. Because, yeah, less HP means you have to avoid getting hit. But it also means that you have a larger variety of items to use. But I don't know necessarily if that works with failure. Once again, I keep getting back to that point. Yeah, I agree. It would have to be like maybe the items are not useful in combat. Maybe they're not combat items. But they're items that make the progress from the beginning of the game to the final combat easier. Like, you know, it could be like puzzle rooms, right? And these items help you get through those puzzle rooms easier or faster or whatever. But then once you reach the final encounter with the person you've been trading items with or whatever, then you have less health and a bunch of useless items, essentially. Yeah, stuff like that. So like maybe would it be like a bullet hell kind of game? Hmm. Hmm. I don't know. I usually avoid like combat when I make jam games. It's usually like almost it's almost always like puzzle mechanics. So maybe this time I can give combat a shot, like do something different. Um, hmm. Or if you're picking up pieces of a whip in place of an empty HP, the longer it is, more range you can work with. That's interesting. That is interesting. I mean, it doesn't even necessarily have to be like attack range. It can even be just hmm. Oh boy. Yeah. Other complete items. Hmm. Hey, box player. Thanks for the follow. Hey, how's it going? We're brainstorming ideas right now. Um, I've had some really good suggestions. Um, but I'm having a hard time implementing the theme in some of them. I think we're on an interesting path with this one, with this idea right now. And it's about trading inventory items for health. So health and inventory use up the same slots. So the more items you have, the less health you have. And we're trying to figure out, yeah, and we're trying to figure out how we could implement that concept in gameplay mechanics. So far, the idea is to implement it in combat, like a boss fight of some sort. And items could affect puzzles or puzzle rooms that you're trying to solve before the last encounter. And the last suggestion was the items you pick up are actually part of a bigger item that, when combined, um, I guess, give a larger benefit. So it would be pretty funny because if you need more HP, disable your item blueprint. Yeah, the idea that was suggested was you're picking up pieces of a whip, and the more pieces you have, the longer, the farther the range is. And I assume the range is like attack range in that final encounter, but it could also be maybe a range for reaching, things in the puzzle rooms, reaching buttons. You can use it maybe to swing across gaps. I don't know, it could be literally anything. Um, but I don't know. It still needs it needs to be refined, definitely. Like there's something there. There's something missing, and I'm not quite sure what. Hmm. I'm looking in Unity. What about time? Can we play with time? Like if we take these concepts and we trade one of the stats, like instead of having to balance HP and items, maybe you balance HP and time, or time and items. Oh, okay. What language do you program in? Like, is it C# for Unity, or is it I don't know. Okay, yeah, C#. Cool. Okay, no problem, Freya. I'll be streaming later tonight, but you can just talk in the Discord group if you think of stuff. And time and platforming space. That's interesting. Could you explain that a little? God damn, it's my cat. Could you explain that a little further? Like, do you mean yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I understand what you're getting at. What if it was a Majora's Mask sort of situation where, oh, hold on, your message just fucked up. A time and space reference, but like more time you have, the narrower your pathway is. The more area, the less time for completion. Yeah, I'm not sure how that would work with the theme. Hmm. Um, but yeah, I guess I was saying, what if there was a Majora's Mask situation where every time you run out of time, the game resets, and I don't know. That's funny. Well, every time you lose, hold on. What if we mix that with the inventory thing, where every time time runs out, you get an extra inventory slot, but extra. Oh boy. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna explore a bit of a different route. Some ideas are coming to mind that are not related to the ones we've discussed. If, what about the idea of the game, the setting being a... Oh, hold on. Let me read what you said. The time idea, health inventory, and shapeshifting block were some of the highlights that stood out for now. Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I'm thinking, what if it's a murder mystery? So you're trying to solve a, well, I guess a murder or a puzzle. And nah. Let's see. Hello, welcome back. Um, hmm. Yeah, I know. Um, I mean, it's cool. You, you honestly contributed so much. God damn. Uh, oh yeah, I did. Yeah, thank you to everyone who followed me. I guess I mean there's only two of you left right now, but I guess I was thanking everyone as they followed. That's cool. When I come back on stream later this evening, I'll update that. Um, mm, yeah, I think I'm gonna go for 10 more minutes because then that's gonna be 2 hours of brainstorming, and I think 2 hours is probably enough for now, and then I can think about it more as I work throughout the day. And when I come back at 5, I'll have a clearer idea. Hmm. Sorry for being so quiet. It's my brain is. I'm just trying to think of how to. Like, I have something in mind with the inventory system. Um, I still think that's something that works really well for this theme. Um, and I can kind of visualize it, but I'm thinking I want to implement it in a way that doesn't rely on like just taking damage to get more inventory space. Like, I just don't know if I can do something interesting enough with that in the time limit that I have. So mm, Okay. You have what if you had what if instead of trading health and items, it's actions and items? So what if it could be like um, a, cards, like a deck of cards, and you have action cards and item cards, and uh, you can sacrifice one for the other. But I'm not sure. Not sure how that works with the theme again. Like obviously the way to swap between them would be by triggering some kind of fail state, but it's kind of flimsy. It's a flimsy implementation. Losable actions? What do you mean by losable actions? Like actions that make you lose, or actions that you can lose? Um, like if the actions and items were like the same as the HP and the items, same inventory, but you maybe meant deck of cards as in drawing different actions and items. Yeah, I did mean a deck of cards, but um, I meant it in the same way as like HP and inventory. So like, you have like four actions, and then when a trigger state occurs, you trade an action for an item. So now you only get three actions, but you have one item. Um, and then if you have four items but no action cards, then you can't progress because you can't perform any actions. But I don't know. I don't know if that really works with the theme. Like I don't even know what kind of trigger state would cause that switch. Yeah, still thinking. At one point, I was thinking of swapping out the blob slash slime idea for being a ghost or a poltergeist, and instead of changing shapes, you'd be changing your level of what's it called, of when you see through. There's a word for it, but the level of how see through you are, so you can go through different kind of materials. So you can't go through wood, or you can go through drywall, stuff like that. But it's just the same idea. I was just thinking of different ways to visually to bring it to life. No, it's not opacity or opaqueness. It's doesn't matter. You know what I mean. Um, but like, what? Oh, you talking to me? Oh. Oh. So maybe, okay, hold on. Let's go back to the actions and inventory things. Like it doesn't have to be cards, that's just visual, it doesn't matter, but like if the man, no, I'm genuinely just stuck. Like I'm stuck. Maybe I have to just explore a completely different idea. Visual goes with passwords. Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I feel like we're right there. It's like, you know, when you've got a word and it's, well, what just happened to me, I guess, and it's on the tip of your tongue and you can't quite remember what the word is. It's exactly what's happening right now. We're like, we have a good concept, but we just can't quite connect it to the theme. There's there's just this one missing element, and I can't figure it out. Hmm. Okay. Well, I'm gonna think about it some more. I'll try and explore some different ideas. If you want, you're welcome to join my Discord, and you can just chat over there throughout the day if you want. If you have ideas, the link to the Discord is in the description or in the whatever Twitch's thing is called, the bottom, the area at the bottom. And until then, I'll let it simmer in my mind because I have some actual work to do, and I'll be back on stream around 5 p.m. or so, EST. So that's in like 6 hours. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. You Thank you for the ideas. Like those were some really good ideas. I'm gonna see what I can do with them. Um, yep, and that's it. Have a good day, everyone. Mm.